steps, midnight business. My daddy's got a magnum in the moonlight, chrome heart cowboy in the crossfire tonight. He's a shadow with a silver little sunrise, spinning that cylinder when I run the fighting lights. My daddy's got a...
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Prince Magnum channel, where hot rodding and romance do coexist. I'm your host, Prince Magnum. Welcome to the series known as In Your Face, and we're going to continue rocking and rolling through the series called Men of Action. Now, before we really dive headfirst into this video, I mean, we're talking dive headfirst into this video. This video is coming along at a time in the video series, it's out of order, and the title will even say so. The other thing that I need to get out of the way is a couple of disclaimers. The first disclaimer is the Prince Magnum channel supports law enforcement. We do support law enforcement. If you haven't figured out through this video, we do support law enforcement. What we don't do is we don't support law enforcement blindly, okay? That's a big one, all right? And I need to stress that right now. We do not support bad police officers. We only support the good ones. And I can guarantee, if you're watching this video, you can go to your police station, you know, because crime is everywhere, unless you live in Skidmore, Missouri. Crime is everywhere, and you're going to at some point have to get to know some of the guys on the police force. And I guarantee it, some of those guys on the police force are worth taking a bullet for. A big shout out to Deputy Anthony of the St. Francis County Sheriff's Department, right here in Missouri. That is a man that, I will say it again like I did in the live stream about a week or so ago from the filming of this video, I would take a bullet for that man, okay? All of that being said, now that we have that established, okay, the first thing that we're going to have to talk, well, the next part of this disclaimer is that if you are squeamish about violence, I will understand if you click off this video right now, okay? Because the clip that I'm about to show you leads up to a violent act, all right? This clip is, without question, that leads up to a violent act. So if you are squeamish about it, I definitely suggest going ahead and clicking. There's plenty of stuff here on the Prince Magnum channel that you guys can watch that does not have stuff like this. Even right in this series, there's plenty of stuff that you guys can watch that will definitely, you know, get your awesomeness, awesomeness of someone who's not just using AI. But if you're squeamish, yeah, I will understand. Just drop a like on your way out, okay? Now that we have our two disclaimers out of the way, and the fact that this is being presented to you guys out of order, let's get underway. The clip that I just mentioned, well, here it is.
Don't do that.
Don't do it.
I did not call your mom.
Stop. Stop, y'all. Stop.
Stop.
Stop. Stop. Stop.
Get your bitch ass
Don't do it, y'all.
I'll kill you.
That's right, folks. That is a man that had a gun pulled on him by a couple of thugs, and the person holding the camera, we'll get to in a moment, I wish I had more to that clip, but it's only 14 seconds long, okay? Which was interesting how I got my hands on the clip. So, obviously, we know violent crime is happening. If you heard the loud sound at the end of the video, that was gunfire. Okay, that was gunfire. So who is the person who had the gun pointed on him? Obviously, this is probably not widespread news. It's, you know, that sort of thing. Who is the person? Well, let me introduce you to one of this gentleman's nieces. Come here. Aurora. Aurora. Baby girl. Sword fight. Ah. Ah. Oh, shit. Ah. Ah. That's right. That is Aurora's uncle. Her actual blood uncle. That is my younger brother. And let me fill you in. This is the brother that at times has, you know, I'll just say it like this. There have been serious times that, you know, him and I did not see eye to eye. But that's the nature of brothers, okay? And, you know, when I heard he was shot, I mean, you know, a lot of you knew about it, had heard about it, could not believe it. It's like, is he okay? Yes, he's okay. He was shot about 7 times at close range with a 40 Smith, you know, a Glock 40 Smith. And thankfully, those guys did not know how to handle a firearm, or otherwise he would have been dead. At that range, I'll just say it, at that range, a 40 Smith would have done the job just fine. All right. Rip 9, you know, rest in peace, 9mm fans. Now having that clip in hand and knowing that these guys were amateurs, I mean, what do you expect with guys that don't know how to handle, you know, properly handle a Glock? And yes, I know how to handle a Glock. So now that we have, you know, kind of the scene established, who is the person holding the camera? Shouting out, "Don't do it, don't do it." That would be my sister-in-law, his wife. This is where it gets interesting. Why was she holding the camera? Okay. Why was she holding the camera and not dialing 911? Her husband is about to be shot by a thug. Well, the answer is she knew the thugs. All right. A little background story on my sister-in-law. My sister-in-law owns a very successful tax service right here, you know, out of the Georgia State area. Very successful. Her and her business partner. Don't mind the air conditioner. I'm in my backyard filming. But she herself is a successful businesswoman. But her business has taken some hits. Some serious hits. You know, she was expanding and had expanded to Florissant, Missouri. So when the riots in Florissant, Missouri kicked off, that business was one of the businesses that got hit. And to my knowledge, was never attempted to be rebuilt. Why would you put it in in an area like that? You know, let's face facts. You know, why would you put a business back in an area like that? I know I wouldn't. So rest in peace, Florissant, Missouri, on that one. You know, you guys, you know, that, and then that would be the first hit. The next hit that she took. Let's face facts. Technology is starting to hit a lot of businesses in certain ways. Okay, big tech is hitting, you know, the up and coming businesses. All right. This channel does use AI, but we use it limitedly. Okay, we use it for certain things, but beyond that scope, we will never, ever, 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 ever go strictly to AI. It's always from the heart, from me to you, okay? But this, you know, this business, this tax service is not YouTube. Okay, that's just the way it is. So big tech is starting to hit companies like that with increased use on AI and things like that. And of course, every business has got to make one bad business decision every now and again. And she was expanding over into what some of you will call the cannabis market, legal marijuana. And let's just face facts. How it's been legalized in a lot of states has actually hurt the economy, not helped. Rest in peace, Missouri economy. So now that we have all of this kind of set up to offset the fact that her business has taken a few major hits, and a few bad choices like that, living an extravagant lifestyle. My sister-in-law fell into the trap of hanging out with a bunch of drug head types, gang members of some decades-old gangs in the Atlanta, Georgia area, and that includes surrounding areas, including Sandy Springs. These gangs run rampant, and they get away with way too much. The gang violence is increasing down there. So, bear in mind, my sister-in-law did not dial 911. She actually ran off with the drug head types. My brother had to jump into his truck, bleeding out. He does not know how in the hell he made it, but he got to the hospital, and he's all alive and well. Okay, he spent a while in the hospital recuperating, and they eventually picked up those two chuckleheads, and to my knowledge, they're back out on the streets. To my knowledge, now how much of that? Springs Police Department has been tight-lipped about that, saying that they can't divulge the whole thing on investigation. Okay, fine. But bear in mind, I am an independent investigator, even though I don't have all the school credentials and everything. But I've done enough criminal investigation. I can begin putting the pieces together. My sister-in-law was never arrested because, remember, she ran from the scene of the crime. They did confiscate her cell phone. They did have this video footage. Why did she not dial 911 right away? Maybe she did. I highly doubt there was much of an attempt. So they began watching my sister-in-law. Bear in mind, I say watching with big-ass quotations, all right? And this is where we're getting into the weeds of this, okay? At one point, I do know that they confiscated from one of the locations my sister-in-law is in. They confiscated, of all things, a bunch of drugs. Now, what type? I don't know. I just know they confiscated illegal substances. That's the best I know. Was she arrested? I mean, it is her business. No. So she's still out on the loose. Kind of suspicious that they confiscated it but didn't arrest her. Kind of suspicious, wouldn't you say? Okay, maybe an oversight. Let's go a step further. Now, my brother has, again, he was shot. And he knows his wife was involved. Okay? And, of course, we also have a witness to it. Mama Magnum was on the phone with him when his wife was threatening that if he came home, that he was going to be shot. That the two thugs were there to shoot him. So we have now witness account to back my brother up on this. Again, my sister-in-law has not been arrested. So, along with that, my brother did get an order of protection. He went back home with my brother and his soon-to-be ex-wife. Do have a set of twins, and by the way, the twins want nothing to do with Mom anymore. My brother is about to find out what it's like to be a single dad. It's not as hard as it sounds. It can be done. Got an order of protection, went home. But somehow, my sister-in-law, along with a corrupt judge, overturned that other judge's ruling. Sent my brother an email at a time when, he's looking after his own kids. And of all the things, basically got that one judge's order reversed. Suspicious sounding? Okay. And because he didn't know about this order, they decided to bring the SWAT team in. Yeah, my brother had the SWAT team on the place. Now, bear in mind, the Sandy Springs Police Department is fully aware that he is still healing from gunshot wounds. Okay? He grabbed a couple of things and he had to bail. They did pick him up and was extremely abusive. I wish I had that on camera. But I have my brother's word, and at this point in time, I would definitely take his word on this, considering what he's already just been through. Okay? So we have the Sandy Springs Police Department committing police brutality on a man who had his arm broken from a gunshot wound, and they are not playing nice. Bear in mind, I have already been in contact with Sandy Springs Police Department. The first time to tell them I'm involved, and I even got them some information they didn't have. I was able to give them some information along with some additional information from my own personal observations. Was able to even break down and give them a complete psychological profile of my sister-in-law. Remember, folks, I've been doing this way too long to not pay attention to details. Okay? Bear in mind, this is also the sister-in-law that, even though she's of African-American descent, I will say up front, right now, that she is the only black woman I have ever met in my entire life that has been dumb enough to call another black woman racist and get the shit beat out of her. That should tell you everything you need to know about my sister-in-law. This is also the same sister-in-law that accused me of being racist, and I started quoting Malcolm X to her. I will also say that my sister-in-law definitely is a scar on that community. So in that profile, the police already knew all of this. But again, my sister-in-law has not been dealt with. She has not been arrested. She has not been charged. Even though we already know that she's been involved. Okay? So my brother is out from his house. My mom is now, she heard the whole thing over the freaking phone. Character witness to the whole thing. Because he had his phone on in his pocket when he was shot. He is now having to fight for his freedom from a corrupt judge and a police department that is awfully complacent. So I will say this, and see everyone on here, well, allegedly, let's look at what we have, okay? We have a police department that is not doing what they're supposed to be doing. We have a judge that I'm willing to bet that if someone would take a quick look at that judge's, financials, they'll find an interesting, they might just find something interesting in it. Like a unknown payment from a certain woman. And I'm sure if they open up my sister-in-law's financials properly, they might find something else interesting. Like an unnamed payment at the same time. I'm sure they will, but do I ever expect to find that in a police report? Nope. And some of that information can be wiped with the help of a bank, someone inside the bank. Remember, folks, paper trails can be destroyed enough where it's difficult for investigators to follow. So we have her holding the camera, not really doing much as far as 911. She was no help in this investigation, really. Not really, until I got involved. And we have a police department protecting her. And we also have a judge in her back pocket. What does this look like to you guys? Well, if you look at it from that particular angle, it looks like the local authorities are the legal backing for for the criminal activity in the area. That's what it would look like to me. Now, am I saying they are? Well, I don't know, but I know just like this fire, where there's smoke, there's usually fire. Okay? So there might be something to this. Now, will the FBI get involved? Well, right now they're too busy trying to cover up the Epstein files, so probably not. Okay? We could probably safely say that it's going to be up to us, the people, to get involved at this point. I do know that Sandy Springs has been in the news quite a bit for some of their activities. Now, it's interesting when local media, when the media stations actually start reporting on police activity. So it's definitely something to look at. There might, again, how it looks to me, it looks like they're involved. How deeply involved, I don't know. I can't say 100%, but I do know that that's the way it looks. Now, to the police chief of Sandy Springs, if you guys are not involved, then you need to be doing your job. Because any which way you look at it, even if you're not involved, this is still dereliction of duty. And that definitely is grounds for dismissal. I'm also going to take a moment, especially with elections creeping up pretty quickly in the next few years. I'm not sure when Georgia has their elections, but we need to ask the question, Governor of Georgia, I don't know you, but is this the behavior of a guy who served in the U.S. Army, my brother? Is this the behavior that you want to say is okay happening to a veteran? Again, he's made mistakes. Who hasn't? But is this sort of behavior okay? And the answer is no, it's not okay. So, at this point, with dereliction of duty, possible corruption, things like that, we need to ask the question, Sandy Springs, the people of Sandy Springs, Do you feel safe? Those of you who are law-abiding citizens, do you feel safe? I wouldn't. Those police officers, if they're willing to commit acts of police brutality against a guy who's still healing up from being shot, never mind his veteran status, we need to ask the question, do you feel safe? I wouldn't. I wouldn't want to raise my family anywhere near something like that. And neither should you. So what do? Start calling your state representative. Share this video with your state representative. I'll be sure to help you with your state representative. And if they do not choose so, you guys do have the right to call for a special election on a vote of no confidence. Along with that, if the police department tries to take any actions against you guys, you do have the right to fight back. I don't care what they say about state law, okay? You guys do have the right to fight back, okay? The police departments, let me say it like this. Every police department that I've ever spoken to, good police officers will say yes. And it doesn't matter where they're at, okay? Does not matter where they're at. They'll say if a police officer's doing wrong, you need to protect yourself. Do not let the criminals get away with it. Those are bad police officers with badges. The bad police officers say, no, you don't have a right. Farmington Police Department, take note. You guys are next. So bear that in mind, folks. You do have the right to plus the 4th of July, and they're already setting off fireworks. You have the right to defend yourselves, okay? Police departments do not like to hear that, and let me give you a famous story that has made its way around this particular area by a gentleman whose father was in the U.S. Marine Corps. I used to work with this gentleman's wife, and I actually worked with the gentleman, and he witnessed this whole thing. His dad, while still in the U.S. Marines, was pulled over, and the officer in question started getting belligerent, and he let his ego take over. And the Marine was he was cooperative. But finally he said, "Sir, I'm going to ask you not to be using that kind of language in front of my kids." And the officer continued to cuss and get belligerent with that Marine. And the Marine said, "I'm going to only tell you one more time, don't you get, don't be using that language in front of my kids. I don't use it in front of them, and I'm asking you not to do it." That officer continued on, and that Marine laid him out. Beat the piss out of him. And he immediately picks that officer up and tells his kids, "Scoot over, we're going to the hospital." He threw that officer in the back seat, took him to the hospital. When that officer came to, the first words out of his mouth, "I got everything I deserved." Tell me if you think that a bad police officer is going to do the same. He's going to be screaming, "I didn't do nothing." That's Sandy Springs. Dead giveaway every time. "I didn't do nothing." Farmington, take note. Again, fireworks. Okay. That is a common theme you're going to see with these bad police departments. "We're doing our job. We didn't do a thing wrong. Blah, 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 blah." Good police officers will tell you it's the public trust that we serve. If an officer is doing wrong, he no longer deserves the trust of the public. Every good police officer, again, special shout out to Deputy Anthony of the St. Francis County Sheriff's Department. He is that is a model police officer. And I will tell you all that again and again. And He's one that definitely deserves a video of his own. Deputy Anthony, if you get an opportunity to see this, I would love to hear some of your awesome stories of you doing your job. I would love to hear them, and I'm sure there's many people out there that would. But that's a model police officer. We're not seeing that out of Sandy Springs. We're seeing what looks like corruption, okay? Again, my sister-in-law is involved. My brother has been shot. Yes, he's healing, but there is a lasting effect of your wife turning on you like that, okay? Ask any man who's ever went through something like that, okay? There is some effect that happens to a man, okay? My brother has even said, you know, I've been in war, okay? But that was a whole lot easier than this. How bad does it got to be? Okay, when a veteran says, I've been at war, but my wife turning on me the way that she turned on me is a whole lot worse. Okay? Folks, if you live in Georgia, now's the time to start fighting back. These are your communities. This is where you raise your families. And I don't need to tell you that that is just, you know, turning a blind eye makes you just as guilty as the ones perpetrating it. Now, all of that being said, you know, again, we ask the questions, and regardless of where you stand, we still, no matter where the Sandy Springs Police Department lands in this, we still have dereliction of duty. We have dereliction of duty, okay? Plain and simple. We have a judge that reversed another state judge's order on, you know, after a violent crime. Bear in mind, my brother has security cameras all over his house, and when they moved my sister-in-law back in, for the record, before he shut off the final camera, he was watching her basically selling drugs right on the doorstep in front of the kids. If that shouldn't send shockwaves down everybody's spine, I don't know what will. That brings us to the spot where I get to remind you guys there's Patreon, there's Teespring. It's in the About section. Get over there, check it out, okay? Those things support the channel, and we don't have to rely on YouTube monetization. If you don't have anything to offer as far as finances go, I will suggest at least sharing this video out to your friends, because the more people we can get involved, the sooner my brother and my niece and nephew will get justice, okay? The sooner that happens, the sooner they get justice. And because if you ever want to destroy a shadow, all you got to do is shine some light on it. And now that we have all of that out of the way, regardless of how I feel about the behavior of this police department, I'm even going to offer these suggestions to you guys. And that's what they are, merely suggestions. And it goes a little like this. Get out there and work on a project. Don't care what it is, just do something with yourselves. Remember, idle hands and a creative mind go together like oil and water. If you have a sweetheart, sweep them off their feet and do something special for them today. And as always, for every last one of you out there, even for the police officers at Sandy Springs that don't know how to do their job, if nobody's told you that they love you today, Prince Magnum does. God bless you, and have a happy 24. Thank you.